Oh, you think it's possible that it could have been shot off into space, sir?
As an engineer, it's a possibility.
It's a possibility that
Absolutely.
this Lexus could have been shot off into space.
Yeah. Highly, highly unlikely. But
All
again,
right.
you're asking an engineer about possibilities and probabilities.
Let's get back to reality. I'm in front of the jury. He has done so intentionally. He intentionally brought up DNA. Based upon that intentional mention, the defense moves strongly, vigorously for a mistrial with prejudice. A mistrial with prejudice. There has been no mention in this trial of DNA specifically. For whatever reason, the prosecution has chosen not to bring that witness in who would testify perhaps to DNA. The fact that they did it in another trial or perhaps did it is irrelevant to this trial, as Your Honor has admonished several times, because of the conduct of the prosecution, and specifically the intentional mention of DNA. The prosecution has put in the jury's mind that topic that is irremediable. That cannot be reversed. That cannot be cured. That cannot be ameliorated with a jury instruction. That cannot be dislodged. The prosecution has to suffer the consequences of its own intentional actions of bringing up that topic. The only remedy is a mistrial with prejudice. So let's go to the timing question and you understand where the Lexus has been at various points in time. You testified to that in direct, whether it was at the Canton Police Department, whether it was being towed, correct?
In addition to having Mr. Burgess' analysis of the data.
In addition to Mr. Burgess' analysis, so in that analysis contained locations of where the Lexus had been.
It contained where it had been, and also include date and time, when it was turned on, when it was turned off.
Exactly. So not only did you have all the locations, you had dates and times associated with the location where the SUV, the Lexus SUV, had been, correct?
Correct.
Now to the question. Based upon that review, that knowledge, that understanding, those bases, you're aware, and you've reviewed, by the way, Trooper Paul's reports, correct?
I have.
There were two reports of Trooper Paul. There was his original CARS report and then a supplemental report that were listed in the documents you reviewed. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that, but I'll take your word for it.
I don't want you to have to take my word. Do you recall, sir, that there were do you recall that there was a report of Trooper Paul?
Yes.
Okay, and you read that report, I assume, sir?
I did.
And it would be important for you to read that report and read it carefully because it addressed the subject matter that you were addressing, correct?
No. I did my own independent analysis. As a matter of fact, it'd probably be more important that I don't do that to avoid confirmational bias.
But you did read Trooper Paul's report,
Of course.
So, you therefore are aware that the Commonwealth has maintained up into your engagement.
Yeah, I'm going to see a sidebar on this.
Are you aware that over the course of the Commonwealth's and your investigation into this case, that the theorized time of the alleged contact of the SUV.
So there's two words, just strike theorized.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Are you aware that over the course of the Commonwealth's investigation and your...
Hold on, Mr. Alessi, the court reporter can't hear you.
Thank you. I will.
I'll object again to the question that's coming.
Can I
Go ahead
begin my
and
question?
ask an appropriate question, Mr.
The defense moves for a mistrial with prejudice. The Commonwealth has no case. They have no collision. They are desperate and are trying to create evidence of specters of collision where the evidence doesn't support it. So what have we come to? We've come to the manufacture of evidence. Where did you show in your slide presentation what you just said that it doesn't show in overlap?
So
Where?
it shows a contact. It definitely contacted, I'm sorry, Mr. Reporter, down below here. It does not show a contact here. So to answer your question, All the next slides were our attempt to do that. So all the next slides is your answer.
We're going to go to those next slides. So just to be clear, you're saying that that depiction does not show any contact between the taillight of the Lexus and the Chevy Traverse.
So the upper taillight, just to be clear, because the lower taillight is much closer.
Well, it's not only much closer, it's in contact, isn't it, sir?
It's very close. It's probably within an inch of being in contact.
Oh, so you state that even the lower part of the taillight is not making contact?
So if, again, maybe there's a photo we could show or a scan. That is on the rear of the vehicle, and it contacts on the corner, which is just around, so maybe like an inch or so in front of it on the corner.
I'm just going with what you presented in your slide
Well, let's
presentation.
go to the next slides and then
Sir,
maybe
I
see
will
it.
determine which slides we go
Okay.
to on my questioning.
I'm just hoping
So
to answer.
now, are you saying that that slide does not show contact between the tail light of Ms. Reed's Lexus and any part of the Chevy Traverse?
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what it shows. You can see a little better here. Again, we tried all these different angles, which is why all these slides are in there. But you can see some of the geometry of the light. This structure, and again, remember I said the Chevy kind of curves in as it goes up a little bit?
Let's go to the next slide. I'm putting this up because I want to show an actual photograph of that tail light, and I would like you, sir, to focus on the quarter panel tail light in each. Do you see a jutting out of the quarter panel tail light in that photo? Do you see it jut out?
So I don't know if you and I are talking the same thing. There are little fins here.
Correct. Now, what I'd like to do is to go back to the depiction we were just looking at, and that depiction doesn't show the jutting out, does it?
No, it does. Those are actually more on the side of the vehicle. You can't see them in this image.
Correct. You
But-
can't see them.
Hold on a second, I wasn't finished. But
Sir.
they are 100% there. We actually did special hand scans with a hand scanner of the taillight to put it back on to the vehicle.
You say they're 100% there, but you can't see it in that depiction, can you? The jutting out that you could see in the two-dimensional one we just saw. You can't see it.
I can't see who's behind that wall because it's being blocked by something. I can't see on the side of the taillight because it's on the side I can't see. It's being blocked.
Sir, my question is simple. You cannot see the jutting out of the tail light in this depiction, can you?
Correct.
You could have shown and measured 3D images to get almost the exact contact point and almost the exact dimensions if you had just used the 3D images that you had available to you. Isn't that correct?
That's exactly what we did. When I went through the video analysis, I showed you how we overlaid the point clouds, the 3D scans, on top of each vehicle. So we took the, I'm sorry, we took
Sir,
the vehicles.
please don't interrupt. Your
Hold
Honor,
on.
he keeps referencing my hand and saying I'm doing something when I'm not, and I think that's distracting to the jury.
So-
I'm not interrupting him.
Hold on. Let the witness answer the
I
question.
am. I'm just holding my hand like this, Your Honor. He keeps saying that I'm doing
Mr.
something.
Alessi, please.
All right.
Go ahead, finish the answer, Dr. Walker.
Again, in the photogrammetric analysis, I showed the video, I showed how we overlaid the point cloud on top of the video. That proves that the way we solved it, correct camera characteristics, matches, otherwise that would be distorted. We overlaid the scans of the Lexus into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid the scans of the scene into the photogrammetric analysis. We overlaid all that stuff into the analysis. We did exactly what you're suggesting.
If you really believe there was no contact or not sufficient contact, you could have produced a graphic that shows a gap between the two vehicles. A graphic, couldn't you? That's not a graphic.
What is that?
Sir, I get to ask the questions and you are to answer them subject to the judge's ruling. So my question is, couldn't you have created a graphic that would have better shown the issue that you are creating or talking about today? That's my question. Couldn't you have created a graphic?
We did. We created a whole bunch of graphics.
You called what we just saw a graphic?
Yes.
Well, if there's a gap, why isn't there then something that shows a clear gap?
Because when you have the angulation of the vehicles, you have perspective. When you're looking at it, even if you do a top down, you see everything projected onto a single flat plane. So you can't tell the height of things. So when you see things in this dimension, you can't necessarily see depth of things. So you lose in two-dimensional images, you lose one dimension depending on which way you're looking. That's why I showed it from all these different angles to try and show exactly what you're saying. We had graphics to do that.
3D images allow you to show perspectives for 360 degrees, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct.
None of what you presented in your slideshow shows the contact points from 360 degrees, does it?
I don't understand your question. Are you asking if I showed it at every single, I went through 360 slides that showed it at every single degree?
Sir, let's move on. I think I've made the point. Do you recognize that document, sir?
So it appears to be a CV, yes.
You say it appears to be a CV. Can you describe that any further?
Yes, so it's a copy of my CV.
Is that a CV you prepared, sir?
It would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the end.
Sorry, it would have been prepared by myself or Aperture, yes.
Yourself or Aperture?
Correct.
But you had, at a minimum, a role in preparing that, did you not?
More than likely, yes.
Yeah, and you would have reviewed that, because it's about you, before it would have been used by Aperture, correct?
More than likely, yes.
You wouldn't let somebody put a CV up and out to the public without you reviewing it, would you, sir?
So there are other staff members that do review and update CVs.
But you're the only one who's going to know whether what's on it is accurate or not, correct?
Unless I explain that to them,
Then
yes.
to the right, it says Bachelor of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration, University of Alabama - Birmingham, Alabama, 2022. Did I read that correct?
Yes, you did.
So this document represents that you received your Bachelor's of General Science in Mathematics and Business Administration in 2022, correct?
That is what it states, but there are a number of errors in that, yes.
Correct. Exhibit 187, a CV that is linked directly from Aperture's website.
I do not know. I would have to look and check that.
So as you sit here today, you are not able to state whether that CV is linked directly from Aperture's website.
Correct.
So this is a third example of a document that incorrectly states that you have a Bachelor of Science when you do not possess that degree, correct?
It has errors or outdated information, correct.
Well, when you say outdated, how is it that you can call a date outdated next to something that you don't possess?
I don't understand your question.
Well, you just used the phrase either incorrect or outdated. I'm trying to understand your statement that it's outdated. Isn't it either you have a Bachelor of Science degree or you don't? Isn't?
I have represented I do not have a bachelor's degree.
Correct. But in here, it's represented that you do, correct?
Yes, it is
All
an
right.
error, yes.
Bev, look at, holy shit. Did you just see the side eye Bev gave? Ed, did you catch that?
Play it back. Play it back. Let's go to the videotape.
Oh, look at, I got it perfect. Look at this. I wish I could just put like those red evil eyes with the
With the lasers coming out.
laser pointed. She's fucking side eyeing Alyssa.
Give him the stink eye.
Wow.
Hey, Bev, you did this.
Hold on.
You
Let me
did
call,
this.
Let me call for backup here.
Are you aware that the currently understood most common injuries as a result of pedestrian motor vehicle collisions are injuries to the lower extremities?
It wouldn't surprise me if that's accurate. Pedestrian impacts and how you move post-impact are very sensitive to your exact body position. We don't know his exact body position at the point of impact, nor do we know the exact position on the ground. So, which is part of the reason why I haven't tried to exactly simulate
You
this.
didn't do a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 20 miles per hour, correct?
That is correct. I was not going to hit myself with a Lexus at 20 miles an hour.
You could have done other tests where the vehicle was going at 20 miles per hour if you used a crash test dummy, correct? You
If
could have
you-
done that.
If you use the right crash test dummy, and then to set up the test, you have to know everything about the parameters. And so again, pedestrian impacts are so very sensitive to initial angles. If I were to do a test and it was off a tiny, tiny bit and we got some different results, I would be in here having to defend it. Well, your own testing didn't show it. Point is we don't have enough information to be able to conduct that testing.
Hold on, stop.
I was just going to say, Ed, your thoughts on this?
Well, he said this numerous times today. Well, guess what? If you don't have enough information to conduct these tests, then you also don't have enough information to give an opinion, a definitive opinion, as you did yesterday, on how this happened. All right, so knock the bullshit off.
So that the date of the incident in question is January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Yet your firm and you were retained for this case by the Commonwealth 2.5 years after the incident in question. You were retained, your firm, on September 23rd, 2024. Is that correct, sir?
No, I believe we were retained a couple days before that.
A couple days. Okay.
Right.
So
Actually, I might be able to find out if you'd like me to look at the documents.
it's not all that important. You would say it's within a week of September 23rd, 2000. It was in September of 2024.
I believe it was in September, yes.
Right,
I would
so-
want to double check.
Well, do you believe Aperture is working for free in this matter?
Oh, no, I don't believe that. No,
So
we're
you
an
would-
engineering company. We bill for our time.
You are a senior vice president of Aperture, are you not?
I am.
You would know, wouldn't you, if your firm was not getting paid for work since September 23rd of 2024?
Listen to this bullshit answer here.
Wouldn't you?
No, probably not. Usually it takes, 9, 10, 12 months of not getting paid before the accounting department reaches out to me.
You, as you sit here today, do not have a recollection of whether Aperture has been paid. Is that your testimony?
It has nothing to do with recollection. I'm not part of that process. We have an accounting department. I don't have any involvement in that.
Are you, so is your testimony you have no knowledge about any contractual relationship between Aperture and the Commonwealth?
Oh, no. I was sent a contract by the Commonwealth to sign, so I'm aware of the contractual agreement, but the day-to-day or month-to-month invoicing and billing, I'm not involved in that.
Okay, so you're aware there's a contract between Aperture and the Commonwealth,
I signed it.
and you signed it. And wasn't that contract obligating the Commonwealth to pay for the services of Aperture? Isn't that the purpose of the contract, in part?
In part, sure.
Yeah, it's a legal obligation of the Commonwealth. Your firm does work, and the Commonwealth pays for it, correct?
That's the idea.
Right, and so you,
Ed, if they paid this man and his company close to $400,000,
are you aware that on April 5th, 2025, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office amended your contract? Are you aware of that, sir?
I am.
And isn't it the case that that amendment
You see him writing notes?
authorized the amount of
yes.
$325,000 to be paid to Aperture? Isn't that what that amendment contract states?
I believe that's correct.
So the Commonwealth is obligated to pay at least $325,000. And is that correct?
That is you're asking me a legal opinion now about a contract. That is my understanding of how contracts work, but I'm certainly not an attorney.
And on top of that, are you aware that Aperture has been already paid $44,510 for its work? Are you aware of that?
The second time you asked me, no, I'm not aware of anything we've been paid.
What an arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
He earned this.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.